Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
Attorney Jeremy Hogan agrees with an XRP community member that a dangerous precedent may be set in the SEC versus Library case that could impact the SEC versus Ripple case. This because the Library case will conclude, with a very high level of certainty, it will conclude before the Ripple case. So I'll share with you the thinking along this. I've actually got opinions from several attorneys in this video sharing their thoughts on this matter, but it is an actual very serious concern. Also, the SEC told Library to take down a tweet about them. Yes, seriously. The SEC, you heard that right, the SEC told Library to take down a tweet that was about the SEC because they didn't like it. Wait till you see what the Library response to the SEC was. Just wait till you see. I'll tell you what. Library did not take kindly, and they are done playing nice with the SEC. So, plenty to discuss in this latest Moon Lambo Hot Jam. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. At this point, I'm assuming that the vast majority of you listening are familiar with the SEC versus Library case. Library is another company in the world of crypto that is utilizing a coin which is called LBC for short. And the SEC is claiming that Library has sold LBC as an unregistered security. Never mind that the entire ecosystem for LBC was 100% functional, it was actually out there. It wasn't being produced before any LBC was sold. Sound familiar, folks? But still, the SEC came on and knocking at their door. So the legal complaint was filed on March 29th of last year, 2021. So that's months after the legal complaint was first filed against Ripple, because that was filed on December 22nd, 2020. So there's a gap of roughly 3 months between these two cases. Still, it seems to be the case that the SEC versus Library case will be ending first, and we'll get into the reasons why in just a second here. First, shout out to XRP community member and attorney James Filan, who shared this. This is the latest schedule, and he wrote the following. Below is the scheduling order in the SEC versus Library case. Summary judgment motions due May 4th, 2022. Trial scheduled to begin on September 8th, 2022. This is an important case to follow. Yeah, no kidding. He's hitting the nail on the head there. Some of you may have caught a video where I was talking about this, and I don't know for sure if it's going to go this late, and there's always the opportunity for settlement any day, but it's possible. And Jeremy Hogan said as much. We could see this case, the SEC versus Ripple case, go into the later half of November of this year. That's actually possible. If we're going to see full adjudication of this case, it's actually possible. You could be looking at the second half of November of this year. Not exactly ideal, but there's been all sorts of delays, and this case is just moving at a snail's pace. Attorney Jeremy Hogan, he shared that schedule from attorney James Filan, and he wrote, the Library case will conclude before the Ripple case. somebody within the community named Crypto Acoustic responded to Jeremy and wrote, "Any chance that could set a dangerous precedent for the Ripple case?" To which Jeremy Hogan kindly responded, and he wrote, "Yes, it could. It would be a same level, different jurisdiction precedent, so only persuasive, not binding." So why might this be trouble for Team Ripple, and frankly, as a result, every XRP holder on the planet? Well, there are a couple of things to consider, just off the top of my head. What about the Howey test? Is the Howey test actually going to be satisfied? Meaning that LBC is going to be deemed to be an actual security. In this case, an unregistered security, but a security no less. Is the Howey test going to be satisfied? All four prongs of it. And then there's the question of the fair notice defense. Now, in the Ripple case, the SEC sought to strike down Ripple's fair notice defense. The judge wasn't having it, and so thankfully Ripple is going to be allowed in court their fair notice defense. We'll see if they're victorious on that or not. But it's worth noting that LBRY has also put forward a fair notice defense. Now, I don't know why. I'm very curious as to why. I haven't seen anyone talk about it to this point. But the SEC did not move to strike the LBRY's fair notice defense, only Ripple's fair notice defense. Now, why? Don't know, but they didn't. But still, so LBRY gets to argue their fair notice defense, but what if they're not victorious on that? Well, the judge, the SEC, they're going to come to Judge Torres in this case and say, look, we're racking up victories over here in this LBRY case. They're going to say it's the same argument. It looks the same. The good news here, and this is what Jeremy Hogan was getting at, though, he said, these courts, they're on the same level, but one's not above the other. And as a result of that, in terms of jurisdictional precedent, it's only persuasive, not binding, meaning that it could impact how Judge Torres responds in a negative way if the SEC ends up being victorious in the LBRY case. But she doesn't, it's not binding, so she doesn't absolutely have to say, okay, this is the precedent, must be applied here. It's not like that. And then there's also the flip side of, okay, well, what if Ripple's victorious? Well, maybe, I'm sorry, that's what I was saying. What if LBRY's victorious against the SEC? What would that mean for Ripple? Which we'll talk more about in a sec. But there's also this. There's a XRP community member who wrote to Jeremy Hogan and said, are they fast-tracking this to get something in law into precedent? So he's asking, is the SEC fast-tracking the LBRY case to try and get something into law as a precedent? And Jeremy Hogan wrote the following: it's the judge. The LBRY judge is pushing the litigation at a fast pace like I'm used to. So it's not so much that they're pushing the LBRY case at like some bizarrely fast pace to try and get this thing all wrapped up before the Ripple case. It's just that the Ripple case seems to be taking longer than at least what Jeremy Hogan here is certainly used to. So are they trying to get something into precedent that would help them against Ripple? I'm not convinced that that's the case. In fact, if you take a look here, LBRY wrote to attorney James Filan and shared the following in response to James sharing this schedule. The SEC already asked for extensions beyond this and were denied. The LBRY versus SEC case will likely be decided before the Ripple versus SEC case. So a couple of things there. I'll just note again that it's ridiculous that this case was launched months after the Ripple case, and it's It's like a virtual certainty it's going to end first. Although there could be settlement, in which case, who knows. But the SEC did ask for extension. So if they're trying to get this case rammed through because they're so much more confident that they'll win this one and it will set precedent. If that's the case, why were they asking for extensions in the first place? So I'm not necessarily convinced, I'm actually not convinced at all that that's what they were trying to do. Still, an interesting topic of whether or not they're likely to win. Take a look at this. Here's a comment from an XRP community member who is an attorney named Fred Rispoli. And he wrote the following. The library case going first is not good for the SEC versus Ripple case. I believe Judge Torres, which of course that's the judge in the Ripple case, I believe Judge Torres won't auto-follow any rulings from New Hampshire court. Pause. Let me just mention, New Hampshire court is where the SEC versus library case is taking place. Ripple, of course, is in Southern District of New York. So let me reread that again so it flows properly. I believe Judge Torres won't auto-follow any rulings from New Hampshire court, as rulings are persuasive and not binding, but I'm concerned with the judge in New Hampshire on this case and feel a bad result is brewing. Really hope I'm wrong. As it has already happened, SEC will be filing supplemental authorities whenever it gets victories in the library case. And so part of that's similar to what Jeremy Hogan said in that this is not binding, it's just persuasive, so Judge Torres could be persuaded. In this case, Fred also, and he didn't articulate further that I've seen, seems to think it's more likely from what he's read on this case that library maybe not in the best position, reasonable chance that it'll actually be the SEC that's victorious, and then anything that happens there is again going to be persuasive, and they can file supplemental authorities, the extra documents saying, see, look, Judge, look at this. Same thing here with Ripple. We just won over here, just so you know. And even if the facts of the case are sufficiently different, they're going to pretend like it's exactly the same because they're asshats. That's how they behave. Then there was this from another attorney within the XRP community named Bill, and he wrote in response to a tweet. Actually, I should read this tweet first. This is from XRP community member Mikkel XRP, who wrote, I was just thinking, if the SEC was really trying to use this case to create precedent in the Ripple case, why would they try multiple times to delay the library case? Yeah, that's his tweet. That's a very good point. My thinking is the same. I don't think that they would if they wanted to delay the case further. Or if they wanted to ram it through as precedent, they wouldn't have been trying in the first place to get extensions on the case. And so Bill retweeted that and wrote, that is the argument against the notion SEC is delaying the Ripple case until a verdict in the library case. The other argument is that a prior verdict having a persuasive influence on a court at the same level works both ways. It could be adverse to the SEC and used by Ripple. So I'll just pause to note there. It comes down to what do you think is most likely to take place, and if the library case is not settled, if it's fully adjudicated, who's more likely to win? I don't know as much about that case. I've been learning quite a bit as it's been much more discussed within the within the XRP community lately. So I don't have a firm opinion on what's most likely. I think the SEC's wrong, to be clear. I know enough at this point to be confident that's the case. As far as who's likely to win, I don't really have a great sense of that at this point. I'm going to keep learning more, and if I form a firm opinion on that, it'll be fun to discuss. I'll be happy to talk about it here. That's why it's interesting seeing that attorney Fred Rispoli within our community thinks he has read it, and he's like, might be bad, might potentially be bad. But if it's good, the SEC could be in trouble here because Ripple's going to say, hey, look, Ripple will do the same thing. it would be adverse to the SEC then. And then Bill also wrote, further, all cases are fact-specific, and lawyers will seek to have the court distinguish an earlier adverse case by submitting that the facts in the later case are sufficiently different to justify not following and applying earlier decision and reaching a different conclusion. So it's worth noting that the SEC is going to try and make an argument, say they're victorious in the library case, and they make an argument that this case is very similar, basically the same thing as what's happening with Ripple. If those facts aren't true, Ripple's going to be able to state that, and then it may not matter so much anyway. So we'll see. And then there was this. I got a kick out of this. I really appreciate and admire how the library team is not holding back. They're done playing nice with the SEC. They've made that very crystal clear. So there was a tweet from the official library account that reads as follows: "We do not respect the SEC." It also shares a screen grab of a communication from somebody named Grin. And I'm not familiar with their team, so I had to look up and find out who that is. It's this individual here on your screen. There's a gentleman named Alex Grinsveg. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. And so he's going by the nickname Grin for short, which is the beginning part of his last name. And Grin wrote the following. Lawyers told me, so he's going to be deposed apparently. Lawyers told me it's okay to show up to my deposition tomorrow looking sharp but smelling awful as a form of psychological warfare. Gonna eat a plate of garlic for breakfast, then do some CrossFit and not shower. It's pretty damn funny. So they shared that image, and the library team wrote, "We do not respect the SEC." Then the library also wrote the following, and this is the most outrageous part, because that's just a funny tweet, but this part is absolutely outrageous. Library wrote, "The SEC contacted us about this tweet and asked us to take it down." What? And then they wrote, and I'm going to have to censor one of the words here, but it's on your screen. "Like this comment if you think the SEC should go F themselves." Guess which word I just censored. So there you go. The SEC told them to take it down. And they're like, nope, screw you. Absolutely not. Not going to be playing that game. I can't. It's amazing, the thin skin of these people. Getting all butthurt about a tweet like that. My gosh. And then library wrote, "Playing nice with the SEC for 4 years has gotten us absolutely nowhere. We're done being nice to these monsters." Full round of applause for that. And by the way, they did end up clearing up one thing. They're not joking about the SEC trying to get them to take that down.
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.